For weeks, we have been talking about who would be gone for the New Orleans Saints at the trade deadline, as it was all but a certainty someone would be traded. Turns out there were two of them. Now we know who and for what. Of course, Saints fans are now in shock because they traded who for what? Did the black and gold get enough for Rashid, Shaheed? And was the box of rocks and a bag of Cheetos enough for Trevor Penning, a top 5 all-time worst first-round pick in team history? We'll talk about it this morning, as well as Verge Osbury becoming the full-time AD at LSU. What effect will that have on the coaching search? And do we take anything from the line movement we have seen on LSU Bama this week? Most of y'all are like, hell no, they're going to get their ass kicked. We'll talk about it. They might not get their ass kicked. Oh, and yippee-ki-yay, I'll be damned if the Pelicans didn't finally win a game. All that is coming up next, along with a first-time guest. That's right, a first-time guest on the Dattitude podcast. We are still here, baby, and we're starting right now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? That is right. We are back on our own page live. There's backstories behind that, but you don't need to know what they are. We'll talk about it later. We're here. They can't kill bad grass, baby. Today, bluegrass. I'm wearing my Cubbies sweatshirt today. It's a little chilly. By the way, did I tell you while that's going on, the AC unit in the office in the dungeon, it went out again? Because you can't have enough things happen to you in the course of like 4 days. I didn't even tell y'all everything, but we are still here. We have some wrinkles to iron out. We are here. We're here along on Facebook and X as well. Who are we? Some of you are asking, who is this dude? Well, we are Dattitude. We're episode number 436. We're still presented by Evangeline Securities, and is Wednesday, November the 5th, 2025. That's right, episode number 436. I am your host, Jim Derry, 35 plus years on the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of this Dat family. We have a new guest coming up later this afternoon, or this morning, I guess. Yeah, he's coming on about 11:20. Kevin Spain, some of you may know him, some of you may not. He is a longtime sports writer. In fact, he's been in the business, I think, longer than I have around. He is a Tennessean. He's got a little country twang, y'all. That is going to be fun. He's coming up. He has been around. He worked at the Times-Picayune. We worked together for many, many years, became friends. And then he kind of bounced around and ended up back in his native Nashville. And now he's semi-retired, and he's fun. So he knows all about what's going on. We're going to get an outsider's perspective. Oh, yeah. By the way, he is a Titans fan. So who in the NFL has it worse than the Saints and Titans? Misery loves company, baby. We're going to have it here on this Wednesday morning. We are going to have fun with Kevin Spain. He's going to come up. He also was a senior NBA editor for USA Today for a while. So we may stick, I didn't tell him this, but we may stick a Pelicans question in there or two. How about them Pelicans? How about them Pelicans? You know, before we get to all that, you know what's special about our show? It's no different now than it was before, now that I'm on my own. There's a song, by the way, On My Own. Y'all don't want me to sing, do you? It's really bad. It's a really bad song. It was a favorite of my ex. Well, I'm really digressing this morning. It was a favorite of my ex-wife's. I could sing it. I guess I won't. Anyway, what is special about this show now that I'm on my own is no different than it was before I was on my own. You can be a part of today's episode and every episode. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And if you are not watching live, you're watching after the fact, you found us on YouTube, you found us on X, wherever you found us. If you would rather just listen to the audio pod, we are on every major podcast platform. You can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr. and via email. Listen to this, boys and girls. I have a new email address. We're starting a new, I have not finalized the name of the company yet, but we're working on that. I hope to have that by Friday. But I have finalized we're going to have our own webpage at some point in the near future. It's going to be jimderry.com. I have secured jimderry.com. I have not put anything on it yet. So if you go there, there's nothing there yet. However, I have an email address, and it's jim@jimderry.com. So there you go. That's right, baby. We live on. We live on because I was so overwhelmed, and I'm not just saying this. I was so overwhelmed by the reception that I got from all of you. I think every regular, well, no, there's a few that haven't reached out. There are all but maybe 5, and maybe 5 regulars, all but 5 regulars since Monday, either live on Monday show, before Monday show, or after the fact, have reached out to me in some form or fashion. And I have had a couple people talk to me about potential sponsorship of the show. We're going to get on that. I'm trying to get everything together. I don't even know how to do that. So I'm meeting with someone later today. One of the regulars we had a meeting yesterday, and he's kind of helped give me some ideas. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't think he minds me saying. Kyle Sherman and I have talked. Kyle has major experience in this business. So I didn't know that until too long ago. But anyway, he and I talked yesterday. I've talked to several other people who have just lent a helping hand. And so this show is going to go on. And I don't want to spend nearly as much time talking about that today as we spent Monday, because I want it to be a regular show. I want it to be business as usual going forward after today. I mean, really. I don't want to talk that much about it. If I have updates to tell you when we have a new sponsor, of course, I'm going to tell you about that because they're going to be a part of the show. But I want this show to go on as it's been. And that, of course, involves you typing in your comments. So you talk to us, we talk back to you. That is what's different about our show. And if you haven't, do me a favor. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube page, please go find us on YouTube. Please do that this morning. All right. As I said, a whirlwind of days, but here we are on Wednesday. It's hard to believe it's 2 days away since a week has gone by since I found it. I mean, Halloween was almost a week ago. Man, it's going to go by fast for sure. All right, let's get to the show. And again, Kevin will be coming on about 11:10. So we got a lot to tell you before then. And one of them is to talk a little bit, and we're not going to spend a ton of time on it. But I do think it's important to talk about it, obviously. And we're going to talk more about the Pelicans going forward. But look, I watched the game last night. It was the first one I watched from start to finish since the first one. And I got to say, man, I was impressed that they didn't quit. Derek Queen was fantastic. The fourth quarter, at least. He didn't do much before the fourth quarter, but man, he came up big. Jose Alvarado was, I thought it was interesting, the interview he had with Andrew Lopez, and we got to have Andrew back on the show. I haven't had Andrew on the show since we were audio only way back when. But he had an interview with Andrew Lopez after the game and said when they drew up the final play, was he part of the final play? He was not part of the final play. And he said, "To hell with it, Joe Boo, I do it myself." And he did. And Jose Alvarado hit the three, and then Queen gets the steal there after he had already played fantastic offense and defense. Really, that fourth quarter, he did not look like a rookie at all. So I'm very encouraged about what I see from that side of it. Zion out again. And I see I got a lot of comments, so we got to get to some of the comments this morning. But man, that's disheartening that Zion is out again. I am going to talk Pell again. I'm going to bring up Pels with Kevin Spain, a former senior NBA editor for USA Today. So it won't be the last we talk about Pels. But you see, they got to come home for one game, and I don't know who made this schedule. This is tough, man. You go back on the road tonight. They got a back-to-back, and the second one's on the road. I mean, if you can at least do the back-to-back, do the second one at home. But it is what it is. It's no different than a lot of other teams, I guess. And they will be at Dallas tonight. Then they don't play again until Saturday, at San Antonio and at Phoenix on Monday. All three of those games, they'll be without Zion. If you didn't hear the news, Zion, a hamstring injury. That dude, man, what a mess. But they played well without him last night. They got their first win with him not in the lineup. What does that say? It says they got their first win without him in the lineup. That's what it says. But Doesn't get any easier. After that 3-game stretch, though, they do get to come home for a little bit. So we'll be talking about that. All right. Also, the NFL trade deadline came and went. Of course, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that this morning. Most players traded in season in the past 25 seasons. How about that? It is tied for the most first-round picks dealt, 3 of them in the past 25 seasons. 2019 was the other year. But 25 players were traded before the deadline this year. I'm not just talking about yesterday. I'm just talking about leading up to it. How about Sauce Gardner going to the Colts? 2 first-round picks. I gotta be honest. If I were a Colts fan, obviously I don't give one rat's ass about the Colts. If I were a Colts fan, I get what you're trying to do, but it just shows you how desperate they are to win something. I mean, you're so desperate. You got off to holy crap. I think they woke up holy crap, we're 7-2. I mean, they didn't even notice when they were 7-1. Then when they lost, probably they looked at the standings and like, oh my goodness, we're at the top of the standings. How did that happen? So anyway, I don't know. I just don't get it. 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, and Brees Hall was pissed because he didn't get traded. It's kind of funny, actually. All right, we got on today's show. I'm going back to the top, and I'm trying to fix this. I don't know why it's showing the usernames and not, or I guess the addresses and not the usernames. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, UBN is here. Will they replace Penning with a revolving door? Probably get the same result. Oh, UBN, what were you smoking this morning? Kyle Sherman's here. Good morning, Dattitude. He'll be late. Can't wait to get my take. I'm sure on the trades. Radens now in for Penning, or Radens. I think it's Radens, actually. I think I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. And Torricelli Simpkins should replace Ruiz. Yeah. And Rocky, you are correct, sir. It is most definitely hump day. It is here. All right, Apathy, good morning. If you're going to suck at the guard position, you might as well do it with a developing player. You don't want to see Ruiz starting again. I don't know, man. I have mixed feelings about that. We're going to get to it in a little bit. By the way, I don't know if y'all noticed, I got my little mermaid cup. For you longtime regulars, I mean, like people before we started doing this live every month, like 3 days a week, back when we were doing it live with it was me and Duncan on Fridays, and we did that live for a couple of years. You remember this cup? This is how it all started. So, and now I just spilled it on myself. It's a good thing it's a dark colored. I don't care. Whatever. We're going back to the beginning here. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Musette. You're fine with Penning. You would have thought we would have wanted to rebuild around Shaheed, so that was surprising. I don't think you're going to rebuild around. I've had this conversation multiple times yesterday with Shaheed. 4th and a 5th round. See, here's the thing. Here's the problem that I have with Shaheed, and we're gonna swap into this, and I'm gonna bring Kevin in just a minute. But here's one of the problems that I have. People want to blame. Again, I am not absolving Mickey Loomis for anything. Okay, I just want that to be clear. I don't absolve Mickey Loomis for a single thing. But people want to bitch and moan about, Trevor Penning. You use a first-round pick on him, and now you get basically nothing for him in return. He sucks, and what a waste of a first-round draft pick. Well, you're right about that. It was a terrible pick. It's definitely a top 5. It is a top 5 worst first-round pick in history for this team. And, it is what it is. However, you got to also say Rashid Shaheed was an undrafted free agent that they brought in. And I'm sorry, I'm getting an important message while we speak. That's why my mind wandered just now. But you can't say both. You can't okay, Rashid Shaheed's a terrible deal. They got this kid as an undrafted free agent. And now you're getting a 4th and a 5th. Y'all are the ones that tell me all the time how important draft picks are. I don't necessarily agree with you. I'm not, if it's a draft pick beyond the 3rd round, I don't usually care. But y'all were all up in arms when Devon Vele they were brought in here for a 4th round pick. Y'all were pissed off about it. Mickey Loomis, what a terrible deal. I actually think that's going to be a good deal. Devon Vele is going to step in and take a role. Vele is a completely different receiver from Shaheed, and he's something that this team doesn't have. He's a big-bodied receiver. Now, he's been hurt a little bit, so that causes a problem. But I think in the long run, and I may be wrong, you're talking about also two different kinds of players. Vele was also brought in, and I'm sure I'm going to see it in the comments. I just haven't looked through them yet. You give a 4th round for Vele, and you only get a 4th round back from Shaheed. Well, yeah, two completely different situations. Vele costs $400,000 a year. Shaheed's going to cost in the neighborhood of $7 to $10 million a year. Do you want to pay $7 to $10 million a year for maybe would be your number 2? But he's probably going to be a number 3 elsewhere. He's definitely going to be a number 3 in Seattle when Cooper Kupp comes back. I mean, they got the rookie that played great the other night, Monday night. Anyway, we'll be talking about that a lot this morning. Again, before I get to Kevin, I do want to talk a little bit about show a couple comments. So hang on, Kevin, real quick. Also, before we get to the rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, if it's someone you know. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, our friends Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices either on Poiter Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you'll be well informed and begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Not the rest of your life. Not yet. We'll fill you in more later in the show, but in the meantime, you can check them out at www.Evangeline Securities. Good morning, Charles Mangus. Musette, it's afternoon. Where are you? Somewhere else? You didn't tell me you were going off. Rob Ruiz, a revolving door. He is. There's no doubt about it. Gary, good morning. Who that daddy is here, baby? Good morning. Owen, good morning. To all the Who Dats as well. Big Dog Hakeem, you're here. I knew you would be. Mark Gapsky, good morning. Hate to see Shaheed go, but it had to be done. There's so many mixed feelings about Shaheed, I know. Big Valley, welcome back. You heard the Colts offered a 4th for Alontae Taylor, and Mickey said no. And then they went out and I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, they got sauce for 2 first-round draft picks. I think that's high. Phil Mariande, good morning. Hakeem's happy for Virgil Osbury, as are we. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. Christopher Crump, happy hump day. Yes, sir. How many games do I think? The Saints or Pelicans? I think both are going to win around 3. No, the Pelicans are going to win more than 3. Just kidding. Y'all asked the other day who's going to win the first, who's going to win a game first, the Pelicans or the Saints. We told you it would be the Pelicans. What a great prediction that was. Just kidding. Duh. Ron Hendrickson, good morning from Panama City Beach. Getting anything, like I said, you get a box of rocks and some Cheetos for Penning, and that's a good deal. Adam Varner, good morning. Earl's Picks. My singing can't be any worse than watching the Saints. Have you heard me sing, pal? Kevin has. He's coming on in a minute. He's heard me sing before. Chad says the pod is better now. I'm not beholden to anything or anybody. We're not going to do things a whole lot different. I mean, maybe a little different. Who that? I'm not sure who that. I know you're a regular. Sorry, DLP. You can tell me who you are. Quo is here. We need some Dattitude merch. It's coming. It's coming, Quo. I promise you, it's coming. Good morning, Bill. Lance Dobart is here. Who that? UBN says he wouldn't trade me for a bag of rocks and Cheetos. They throw in some Christmas tree cakes. He may have to listen. Okay. I know we got plenty more comments. Brandon, hello. Good morning. Thank you. Catching Dat Live for the first time. Well, we absolutely welcome you, Brandon. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for the comment that you left me Monday. I appreciate it. Or was it yesterday? I'm not sure. Whatever it was, I appreciate it very much, Brandon. Thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. All right. Let me bring in my friend here. And we have a lot in common besides the fact that we've both been sports writers for, 7 decades, a long time. That's scary to even say that. However,
A combined
A
7
combined.
decades.
Isn't that scary?
That's a long time.
It is a long time. But you, sir, are a Titans fan. I root for the New Orleans Saints. We have a lot in common. We're going to be fighting each other later in the season. There's going to be a game in Nashville. And I think the second to last game, the penultimate game of the season, which could determine who gets the first pick of the 2026 NFL draft.
The people are clamoring for tickets. You wouldn't believe. You would not.
You're right. I wouldn't believe it.
How many people are wanting to go to this game? Yeah, I mean that could be for the number one pick. So I heard you talking about draft picks a minute ago and how much you love them. So I tell you what, that pick is going to be pretty valuable to some teams next season. So
yeah,
hey, maybe those two teams will scrap it out just to see who can lose.
I have an idea that I really wish the NFL would think about. And look, I don't think tanking is nearly as big of a deal, and we don't use the T word very often on here. But in this case, I think I have to. Okay, there are people on here who love the T word, and I've actually banned people for consistently using the T word here. However, when you talk about tanking, it's not as big of a deal in the NFL because I don't think people do it as much. We've seen evidence of teams. I mean, some teams just doesn't matter. They just think they're going to lose on their own. But I have an idea, Kevin Spain, for the future. I think it would be the greatest thing since the NBA's in-season tournament, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So, with that being said, I think you take the bottom 8 teams in the NFL and you have like a playoff, okay? At the same time, the real playoffs are going, but you do this on like the middle of the week. You do it on like Tuesday and Wednesday.
Right.
And maybe even Thursday. This is a Thursday game for playoffs. You take the bottom 8 teams, or I don't know, hell, take all the teams that didn't make the playoffs. I don't care, whatever way you want to do it. And have a tournament, okay? Mm-hmm. And the team, and that's how you figure out who gets the number one draft pick. You have to win the stupid tournament. So you can't tank, you have to win it. So whoever wins the tournament gets the number one pick. Whoever loses the championship game of the tournament gets the second pick, and so on. You know how much money that would make? People would watch that crap.
Of course, they would watch that crap. But first of all, being vetoed by the Players Association would be your first hurdle to get over. Yeah, we're going to play 4 more games. We're the worst teams in the league. We want to play 4 more games.
Exactly. That's more punishment too.
Yeah.
Not only that, you suck. You have to play more games. So I think you should have some kind of penalty. That sounds like a great penalty.
It's an unfair advantage that they don't play as many games as the teams in the playoffs. So I think maybe they need to play more just so everybody plays the same amount of games, has the same wear and tear on their body at the end of the season. I mean, that's a good plan. That may be the way you sell it to the union.
There's got to be a way. All right, how about this? All right, instead of going to 18 games, okay. We'll take the 18. In fact, we'll even go back to. No, they're not going to do that. They're never going to subtract. All right, so I'm trying to be semi-realistic here. All right, forget the 18th game. Instead of the 18th game, we want this 8-team crappy tournament. You could call it the toilet bowl, call it the, get it sponsored by
the chase for number one. That's it. The number one bowl. Yeah. Number one pick bowl.
The number 2 bowl. It's the number 2 bowl. It's the bowl.
The number 2 bowl.
Is number 2. You win, you're actually number 2. All right. Anyway, I just think it's a good idea. We got to do something.
Well, I mean, I don't. As far as tanking goes, I just think some teams are inept. Like, I don't really think the Titans wanted the number 1 pick last year. They just lost a game again. That was it. I think they lost to the Texans in a game that they should have won towards the end of the season, but they just weren't good enough to win. Well, I mean, look, both the 2 teams we're talking about, they need more than the number 1 pick. So
there's no question.
It's a lot of they need lots of picks. You're right. The first 3 rounds are where you're going to get the majority of your picks. But I mean, look, every now and then you get a really good player or a great player in the later rounds. So it just depends on who's making your picks.
Kenneth Nola has a question. Between the Saints and the Titans, which team has the least amount of talent? It's a very good question.
Here's what I'll say about the Titans. I have watched them play. Why? I don't know. But I have watched them play a few times this year. And one of the things, I guess you've been talking about the Shaheed trade. So one of the issues I think that hurts the Saints in that deal is you're still trying to develop a quarterback or find a quarterback.
Right.
So you get rid of one of your top receivers. That's not good for your quarterback,
right?
Because now he has nobody to throw to. The issue with the Titans have sort of fallen into that same boat. Calvin Ridley has been hurt most of the year, a guy they paid a ridiculous amount of money to, and he's totally not delivered. Tyler Lockett, who they got from the Seahawks, decided, this team sucks so bad, I want out. So he's gone. So they are left with 2 rookie receivers, a couple of cast-offs, and a rookie tight end. So that's one of the reasons they've been so bad. But I think the good news for them is they're all sort of developing together. They're getting better.
Yeah.
Ayo Manor, guy drafted in our league this year that you had no idea who he was. He's making some catches and he's getting better. DK, who came in from Florida, he's getting better. And then Gunnar Helm, the tight end. I'm not sure the Saints have positioned themselves in the same way. So if you're still trying to develop or find your quarterback, you've got to have somebody who's developing, getting better, or be good along the way. And I think the trade of Shaheed hurts that because you still don't know if your rookie's going to be your guy.
Yeah, what. And I think that means that Chris Olave, they're people probably won't like this, but I think that this means that they're going to go forward with the intention of Chris Olave is going to be their number one. Or potentially maybe they think if Tyler Shuck is the answer at quarterback, again, I'm not saying that he is. People don't get pissed off at me. I think that if they think Tyler Shuck is the answer at quarterback, then maybe they go playmaker with the first pick of the draft or, a top 5 pick that they're going to have. Right. So maybe they try to, work around Olave and whoever they're going to draft and make those guys 1 and 2. And look, in all reality, we can talk about the Shaheed trade for a 4th and a 5th. And I touched on this. And the people who weren't listening, here's my thought process on this. The guy was an undrafted free agent. Right. Okay. So you got a 4th and a 5th pick for him. Does that mean you just trade the guy because he's an undrafted free agent and whatever? No. But in the grand scheme of things, if he doesn't fit into your plans going forward, and you got to think about the Saints, you're going to have to spend money. They don't want to spend a combined, 30, 35, maybe $40 million on Olave and Shaheed, because that's what those 2 guys are going to cost together.
Yeah, Shaheed's going to cost money because he's got 1 year left on the deal. He's going to cost money. Yeah. So,
and he's actually the 2026 portion of his contract was voided out, and I didn't even realize that until I went and looked it up. So he's completely an unrestricted free agent after this year's over. So you get nothing. If he leaves after this year's over, right, you get nothing. So even if you said, okay, we want to build around Shaheed, there's no guarantee that Shaheed was going to stay here anyway.
Right.
So, so you're getting something, and do you want to spend what is Shaheed going to cost in the open market? I'm guessing a number 2/3 receiver probably cost $8 to $10 million. That's the bottom end. Really. So, and Olave is probably going to cost you $25 million a year. I'm guessing somewhere around there. So, do you want to spend $35 million a year on Olave and Shaheed, which is what you already have, or do you want to focus on more on Olave? And I know I can't wait for the backlash on people that hate Olave. It's coming, and I'll get to that in a minute. But
right.
I just think that you focus on Olave a little bit, and then again get a playmaker early in the draft. If it's not the first round, you get a solid playmaker in the second.
The key for the Saints is going to be what they're focusing on in the draft. I think when you're a struggling team, and again, my experience this year living in Nashville is watching the Titans. I'm not sure if the Saints fall into this category. You'll have to tell me. One of the biggest issues they're facing is the offensive line is just not good enough. And you've got a rookie quarterback and you're trying to make it, and he has no time. I would, if I'm a fan of the team, I would rather see them build that offensive line to try to make to protect the quarterback, to try to run the ball, to try to give yourself something on offense, so you're not dependent on we just traded this receiver for for 2 late picks and it's going to kill us. Well, if you get your line better, get where you can actually move the ball, where you're not dependent upon this one receiver, because Shaheed's not the top receiver in the league. He's probably going to be a number 3 when he gets to Seattle, when Cooper Kupp comes back. And look, if you're Shaheed, you're ecstatic now, because Smith Jigma is going to command double coverage. Everybody knows what Cooper Kupp can do. So all of a sudden you're running free down the field. I'm not saying you're not covered, but you got one-on-one coverage for a guy who probably is a deep threat to a quarterback who's playing outstanding right now. So for Shaheed, he's excited. He's playing on a
really good spot.
He has a chance to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Seahawks are good enough to get to the Super Bowl.
And we'll root for Shaheed no matter what happens. I'm just saying that I think that as much as I like Shaheed, and somebody, right after it happened, in fact, I don't even know if I knew yet, if someone was asking me what I thought in a text, or whether I just found out or whatever. And my answer is, look, I hate losing a guy like Shaheed. He's definitely a fan favorite. He's a guy that I had kind of personally gotten attached to a little bit as part of this team. But when you sit down and you objectively look at what they got, and they got a 4th and a 5th round pick next year for a guy that I think it was at best, Kevin, 50-50 that he was going to be back here next year. And that's it. And maybe the Saints internally said, you know what, we're not willing to pay $8 to $10 million for Rashid Shaheed. So if that's the case, then if you got a 4th, that's fantastic value. If that's the case,
no question about it.
You got to say it's a good deal. Then
you could be a Titans fan and would have lost Derrick Henry for nothing. So I think you should be happy that you got a couple of picks for this guy.
Yeah, and look, if you talk about the differences between the Saints and the Titans, and again, I'm sure we'll talk about this again as we go forward. We got a month and a half until the Saints and Titans actually play. I think it's the Sunday after Christmas. That'll be a great gift for everyone. The world can't wait. I feel sorry for the broadcasting team that's got to do that.
Tickets are going crazy now. I'm telling you, people are buying them left and right.
You are joking, right? I mean, I could drive up to Nashville that week and probably
walk right in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
Wouldn't be bad.
Maybe we'll do that.
Could have a good time.
Maybe I'll drive with you want to go to a ball game?
Yeah, I'll be here. Come on up. We'll have a good time. We actually, I have, we've got good seats, so come on up.
I might do that. All right, we'll talk about it later. But here's the thing about the first pick, and I'm not going to rail on Cam Ward here, but when you go and you talk about getting the first pick, okay, and the Saints are in a situation where, look, I don't think the Saints' future quarterback is on this roster. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong. I know it's not Spencer Rattler, and I hope that Tyler Shuck can prove me wrong. That I don't. But I saw some glimpses Sunday. Let's see how he progresses. At least he's got a chance to be. But if the Saints are in a position where they need to draft a quarterback, although they're too stubborn to probably admit that they need to draft a quarterback, to me, the Titans, it's too early to say that Cam Ward is not. I'm not sold on Cam Ward. Let's put it that way.
I don't think anybody is yet.
But now if you're the Titans, when you go into next year's draft, if you have the first pick or the second pick or the third pick, it's going to be one of those three. You have to decide. You can't give up on Cam Ward yet. So you're kind of like in a catch-22, but it just goes to show having that first pick and being able to draft a quarterback isn't always the answer.
No, and look, here's what the Titans have to do with that first pick. If they're serious about eventually contending in the AFC, they either have to take the best offensive lineman available or the best edge rusher. Those are the two positions that they've got to get better. They're not sexy picks. They're not the ones you're going to party about all night, but those are the picks they have to have. I mean, just to give you a quick example of one of the dumber moves they made. They signed a left tackle, Dan Moore, who was a free agent from the Steelers. Okay. They paid this guy $82 million for 4 years because they needed a left tackle. They were playing J.C. Latham there, the Alabama rookie who was a right tackle at Alabama. They moved him to left tackle. He did an okay job, but not great. They paid Dan Moore all this money. Dan Moore was the lowest graded left tackle in the NFL last year gave up the most sacks, and they paid him $82 million to come in.
Yeah.
So if you are them, your first priority is to get a left tackle because he's already given up a bunch of sacks this year too.
Right.
He was exactly what they thought he was, or what everybody else thought he was.
And the Saints have 2 tackles, but their problem is when Eric McCoy out, their offensive line is absolutely the worst in football. And
so that's what they've got to focus on. I mean, when the Saints were winning all these games,
you can't pick a guard in the first.
Sure,
in the
you
first
can.
5 picks.
Sure, you can. You have to if you want to compete, man. You want the best guy, right?
I mean, can tell you this: the fan base is going to go insane if they use another first-round pick, especially if it's a top 5 pick on an offensive line. They're going to go insane.
They are. Yes, they are. But I mean, again, if you want to be serious about winning, you have to be good on the offensive and defensive line. And the worst teams in the league are they're not.
There's a comment in here that actually kind of goes with what we're talking about, and I hate doing that. I always do stuff like this. I'm just going to say, I don't remember who. I think it was One Smoke who said it, so I apologize if it's not. But and Gabe just said something that in the private chat that reminded me of this, or not reminded me, but reminded that we had the comment earlier. But maybe the Saints are in a position to where if they are going to do that, Kevin, and they are going to say, you know what, we're going to go interior lineman in the first round. Well, then you're in a position to say, you know what, maybe we trade down and get an extra first round pick in 2027. I don't think any realistic Saints fan thinks that this is way more than a 1 to 2 year rebuild.
That's correct.
This is a 2 to 4. This is a 2 year rebuild to even be mediocre, and probably a 4 year rebuild to be anywhere near what you used to be. Right. So maybe you do that. If you can get an extra first round pick in 2027 and move down, or maybe even an extra first round. And Hakeem, there it is. Hakeem says trade back and get 2 firsts. Yes. It wasn't just Hakeem. Someone else said it too. He likes Caden Proctor. One Smoke. There it is. Thank you, Gabe. Saints should trade back and try to get a first rounder in 2027. So I actually am on board if what you're saying, if the team is going to buy into this. Now, this is all bordering on if Tyler Shuck is the future at quarterback for this team, or if you say, you know what, the hell with it. We're going to say, you know what, we're going to give him not only the rest of this year, but we're going to give him next year too.
Right.
You could do that as well, because then if you do that, it'll be like the Titans. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but you'll be like the Titans. You'll be bad enough next year to probably be in a good position to get a quarterback in 2027 and have another first round pick.
Yeah, I agree with that. See, I mean, I wasn't saying that you have to use your top 5 pick on the line, but if, especially the situation in Nashville, those guys, that's what they have to have if they're ever going to find out if their quarterback is a legit quarterback. He can't just be running for his life every time he gets a snap. So you've got to be able to protect him just to see if he's your guy. And if the Saints are bad up front, then obviously they need those positions, no matter who their quarterback is.
Right.
So you've got to shore those pieces up, I think, first, unless you really think that there's somebody in that first 5 that, okay, it's going to, the fan base is going to be ecstatic. They're going to come watching play. But, you could mess around and be like Jacksonville last year, who trades up and get Travis Hunter. Everybody's excited. And then, the first few weeks, okay, he's not what we thought he was going to be. And now he's hurt. So I think you've got to be careful about that kind of thing. I mean, do you legitimately think the Saints are going after a quarterback next year?
I don't. I think I think that even if Shuck stinks over the course of the last 8 games, and I think even if the eye test tells us that he is not the future quarterback for this team, I think this team has a history of just being too damn stubborn and not going to admit that they were wrong with their pick. So I think that they probably should, especially if they have a chance to get a Mendoza or something along those lines, then I think they should. However, I understand if they don't, this team, look.
So you like Mendoza. You think Mendoza could be the number 1 quarterback?
It's November. Ask me again in March after I see some combines and go the rest of the year. But I think as of right now that what I see, yes, I do like what I see. But there are other guys that I want to see too. There are also other guys that, maybe I just think the Saints right now, as much as I think quarterback obviously is the number 1 concern, man, what you say makes sense. And I mean, Ruiz is terrible. They literally have no left. They have no left guard at all, and their right guard, who they drafted in the first round, 5 years ago, is terrible. And Eric McCoy now is second year in a row where he's going to miss a giant part of a season. Last year he missed 10 games this year. Now he's going to miss the rest of the season. So this is going to add up to 10 games. So, I mean, you got to think about center too, because I mean, if Eric McCoy keeps getting hurt like this, that could be we saw, we've seen offensive lineman there, Ryan Ramczyk. We saw his career end way prematurely because he kept getting hurt. So look, the Saints, I think they got their bookends. I like both tackles. They're both young tackles that I think could be around for a while, but they have absolutely got to find a way to secure the interior of this line, whether it's in free agency. If they have money to spend, to me, and everybody wants that in free agency, but I think you have to go there in free agency and in the draft.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the biggest issue that a lot of these teams are facing is, the pressure to get that star. And so everybody wants to get, for the Saints, you're not going to get another Drew Brees. So, but that's what you want. That's what everybody wants. And I think that's the issue they're facing right now. So
Drew Brees is gone and he's never coming back.
Exactly.
Just gotta throw that
of course,
out.
He would probably be better than what you have right now.
Right now, he might be.
Even at what is he, 43?
He was born in 79, so he's 46.
46. Yeah, he'd probably be better than what you have right now. I mean, I think that yes, so you're going to have to shore up that interior. And then I feel like that, maybe Shuck suddenly looks better if he has time to throw. But I don't know. I haven't seen him enough. You guys have seen him. You know him. He might not be the guy to get it done.
What's the sad thing, Kevin, is I think this team has actually done I actually like this past draft, and I like last year's draft. So I actually think that they've done a decent job. It just goes to show you how far they were spiraling into an abyss, that they've had two what I consider to be pretty good drafts, and now they're in purgatory.
Are they still in the salary cap hell that they?
Oh, they're in a better shape.
Okay,
they're in a better spot, and actually, that's probably part of why Shaheed's gone. And actually, I'm seeing way more. I'm surprised. Most of the Dat family here is behind Shaheed being traded. So I thought that's not what I thought I was going to see this morning. So look, I think
you only have one win. I mean, I think people understand you've got to. Okay, this season's done. You're not going to win. I mean,
for sure.
You could be Dallas. You could be Dallas, where you traded a first round and a second round pick for a defensive tackle. You're going nowhere. You're not making the playoffs, but you have mortgaged your future to get this. What is he? 27, 28-year-old defensive tackle who might play for you 3 or 4 years, but you're not doing anything with this guy, and you mortgage the future for it. So I think if you're the Saints, the move you made is a lot better for your future. Because you're not going anywhere this year.
Yeah, King's not happy. King's not behind this sheet. Well, I didn't think everyone was going to be for it. I'm just saying that I think the majority is for the trade. Again, he says
King's got tickets to the games this year. He wants to see him win some damn games.
Rare speed. We don't have talent. We should have kept him. I hear you. And Brandon says Shaheed's production has never matched the hype. So there's two contradicting comments. I'm just going to say that I think, look, you don't want Shaheed, even if you really love Shaheed and you don't think it's a great trade. Again, I'm going to say this again. I think at best, if they keep Shaheed, at best, it's 50-50 that he stays. I mean, it really is. Now, he probably would have been he would have taken a hometown discount per se because of the loyalty the Saints brought him in when no one else did. He was undrafted free agency or tend to be more loyal than others, but that doesn't mean he would have had to be. If he's going to get 10 to 12 million somewhere else and the Saints say we'll give you 8 million, he's going to go. So and I'm not saying that's what he would have got. We'll have to see what he gets in free agency, but again, and there's nothing that says he can't come back. He could come back if he wants to after the. So if that's a possibility that no one's even talking about. So I'm not saying he will, but he may or may not.
So you're saying the Saints could get 2 picks. He could come back as a free agent.
It's a possibility.
It's a big plus. Yeah. Wow. Nice.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
I think you just did. You just said it's going to happen.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Come on, man. All right, look, I want to talk about before we move on here. We're going to talk a little bit about this actual matchup. Not that anyone really gives a rat's ass. It's hard to believe the Saints are only 5.5-point underdogs at Carolina after they beat the Panthers. And we like to do this every Wednesday and on Friday as well. We'll take a look at the season rankings and kind of do matchups. We're halfway through the season. Obviously, these numbers mean something. And the one that sticks out is the Panthers rushing offense. Who'd have thunk it?
Right.
Gabe Henderson would have. Who'd have thunk that the rushing offense for the Carolina Panthers with a resurgence of Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard have them 5th in the NFL running the football. They get to go up against the Saints rushing defense. That is really, honestly, it's 24th. You know why they're 24th? Because they've been on the field forever. That's why they're 24th. So it's probably not as bad, but I find this an interesting matchup. The over-under in this game, 39.5. Odds makers don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored. What do you see here, Kevin?
Well, I think that Rico Dowdle made Chuba Hubbard available almost. I mean, he's taken over. The guy, he was a cast off from the Cowboys. And, I think it kind of kicked him in the ass a little bit. And he's been fantastic. So their offensive line, their rushing attack, it goes back to what we're talking about. I mean, Bryce Young, who wanted that guy? But now all of a sudden, okay, yeah, we can live with Bryce Young. As long as we're running the ball like this.
Still not a number one, not the top pick in that draft, but still.
No, but you can live with him now because you can move the ball and you're not dependent on him having to have to carry you. So this is an interesting game. I mean, I do think that they're going to try to just ram it down the Saints' throat all day if they can. So it's going to be
absolutely think that.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for the Saints defense to see what they can do. They've got to get turned in the one win the Saints had. They had 4 turnovers, 5 turnovers,
5 turnovers against Giants.
So that's
collected 5.
Yeah, and so that's the way they've got to play this week.
That's the goal. You get 5 turnovers, you win, baby.
Hey, the Titans' one win was they also got turnovers and probably one of the craziest plays that you'll ever see. So, yeah, that's how you win games in this league when you're not.
And did a lot of knockout pulls as well.
That's right.
That Titans win. That really sucked. Anyway, no offense. If you can't see the season rankings, if you're listening after the fact, the passing offense is also kind of sticks out there. If the Saints can hold down the Carolina rushing offense at all, the Saints passing defense has been much better. Again, this might be a little misleading too because teams have been running the ball a lot on the Saints because they've been running out the clock, especially the last 4 weeks or so. But the Saints passing defense is ranked 14th in the NFL. And you talk about Bryce Young, they have not been able to throw the ball besides the fact that they have 2 first-round draft picks at wide receiver. Their last 2 picks in the first round are both wide receivers, Ted McMillan and Xavier Legette. They're 30th in the NFL in passing offense. Maybe getting a little bit better as the season's going along, but the weather, by the way, is supposed to be beautiful on Sunday. It's 72 degrees and sunny, which is much better because the next day, good thing they're not playing on Monday,
yes,
where it's a high of 44, and I think it's going to be the same in Nashville.
Yes, that part of the country, we're getting a cold blast apparently overnight.
It's coming here too.
Well, not really.
Yeah, it's going to get to like 60.
There you go. Freezing.
No, I'm just kidding. It actually was pretty cold this week. It's supposed to get in the 30s next week. Anyway, I just think that if the Saints can do anything, they're key to winning this game, obviously, and it's often a key. But if they can slow down the Carolina rushing attack, and obviously they're going to be on the field a lot more than they were on the field Sunday last week for 16 franchise low. 16 minutes and 7 seconds was their time of possession on Sunday against the Rams. 16 minutes. That's almost impossible to do.
Yeah, it really is.
We'll see what they can do this week, but I think if they're on the field, so again, the key, you stop their run or at least slow down their run, the Saints have a chance to win this game.
That's definitely because that's all they're going to, they're going to continue to pound the Saints. They're going to use both running backs. They are going to pound them because I think you're right. They don't want to put it in Bryce Young's hands to see if he can win it. And that also goes back to what we were talking about with the draft. They have 2 first-round receivers and they're 30th in passing. So again, just because you get the shiny receiver doesn't mean you're going to be great at the passing game. I mean, listen, Calvin Ridley, the Titans paid him $92 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think he's got 4 catches. I don't know. He's terrible.
3 letters. B-U-M. Bum. I had to some people on the show, some people of that family, they're kind of like me. They're a little slow. So I actually had to tell them what that spells. So we love them, but B-U-M is bum. All right. We're making predictions already. Bill is saying Saints win and score 24. That's right. He said it 24-17. I know a lot of people are taking the Panthers this week in knockout, but when I look at the spread 5.5 and it hasn't moved, that doesn't exactly, that means the odds makers think the Saints have a chance to win this game. Could this
24 is a lot of points for the way they've been playing, right?
Well, I mean, this suggests that Carolina would win, let's see, 23-18, somewhere around there, 22-17.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
That's what this line suggests. I don't know what I'm taking yet.
That's a tough one to pick, though. I mean, those guys had been so bad, and now they're playing good ball.
Yeah.
But it's a division game. So yeah, that could go either way, I think.
All right. Before we move on to LSU, I also want to talk about, I actually think that the Saints this is why I don't think the Saints are going to have the first pick in the draft. I don't even know if they're going to be in the top 3. And we joke about Saints of Tennessee, and I really am serious. Maybe I'll come to Nashville that week. Maybe that'd be a good getaway. I really think I might. But if you look at what the Saints have left on the schedule, it doesn't matter how bad Atlanta is or how bad the Saints are or how good the Saints are and how good Atlanta is. Those are always tight games, almost always. So I would be surprised if the Saints aren't in both of those games. And then you look, they're not going to win at Tampa Bay. I just don't think they're going to beat Carolina, but we'll see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But after the bye week, at Miami, okay, I'm not scared. Carolina, the Jets are in complete free fall. I actually think the Jets are going to get the first pick of the draft. Then like we said, at Tennessee, the Saints realistically could win 3 or 4 games.
They could
this season. I think I'm predicted 4 to start the season. I said 4-13. I think I'm leaning more towards 3 now. But even if they won 2 more games going forward, you have to consider that a step in the right direction.
I mean, the thing about Atlanta is that they could score 30 points and 0 points in back-to-back weeks. So, there's absolutely the Saints can beat Atlanta because they can be as bad as anybody in the league when they want to be. They certainly can. Don't push them. They'll be terrible. And they'll absolutely, you can't be worse than me if I don't want you to be. So right. I think they can do it.
Yeah, we'll see. I look, this week's going to tell us a lot. I think, last week we talked about, look, the Saints can't, they just have no chance to beat a team like the Rams. They just don't, especially on the road. They just don't.
Miami's a weird team too. I think Miami is bad. And, but they got that win last week, which I think stunned everybody.
Right.
But Tua, it's weird about Tua. Tua and Hurts. Tua replaced Hurts, came in the championship game to win it when they both played at Alabama.
Right.
And now Tua is just a mess. He's a total mess. And Hurts is actually pretty solid. So, yeah, it's an interesting look at the way those teams are. I mean, I think Miami might be in a worse situation than the two teams.
They're in a terrible situation because they're gonna end up being they'll probably be outside of the top 5 when they're drafting. Yeah. Their coach Gucci's getting fired before the end of the season. They're just a mess. And in fact, if you had to pick, I think they're probably, of all the 32 teams, that's probably the team I'd least be like. And as bad as the Saints are in a situation as the Titans are, and even the Jets, Miami's got this talent and they've got money issues and they've got a quarterback that is kind of like in no man's land. They got a star receiver that is aging and hurt, and I don't know what's going on. So
it wants out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they've got
the Dolphins owner says that he's going to finish the season. I'll believe that when I see it. I don't care if they keep losing just because they won last week. Big deal. We'll see what happens when they go further. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
They have an entire organization that's screwed up. I mean,
it really is.
They don't draft well.
If they do keep him, by the way, that goes to show how inept they are because you can't. Yeah. That guy is a moron. I'm sorry. He is a terrible terrible football. Say what you want about, people are ticked off about Kellen Moore. Well, he's 37 years old and he's still learning. And this is a season he's rebuilt. He's learning how to coach as much as this team's learning how to play. So I don't have any problem. But you talk about this guy who came out who's maybe a great play caller, and I'd say maybe because I don't know. But as far as an overall head coach, that guy's terrible. So I'd be aggravated if I was.
I mean, I think they pulled him out of the IT department. So, that's. Look, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with him and why he's sticking around. But yes, they're poorly coached. They are also, going back to another stud Titan. The best game that Will Levis ever played was against the Dolphins in that 20-point fourth quarter comeback.
Levis.
Oh man, they made him look like Drew Brees in that game.
Levis. Well, you know what? I really think that if Gucci would gain about 50 pounds with those glasses he's wearing, he could be an Elvis impersonator. he might actually
be a good Elvis impersonator.
I think he'd look just
he'd
like
be better
him,
than coaching in an NFL team.
Exactly. Kentucky rain, you're pouring down. All right. Barry, thank you, sir. Another great show. I appreciate it. All right. We're going to move on from the Saints. I will finish this show. Gabe and I are going to talk some more in a little bit, and then I will wrap up the show with Saints a little bit later. But we're moving on because I do want to talk about the LSU Tigers and their continued search for a football coach, which we don't know how long it's going to last. They have promoted from within. They have promoted Verge Osbury from interim AD. He's been on staff, I think, for 8 years now to the new is it not that long? I thought it was that long. He's been on staff for. Gabe's losing his mind back there. He's just like he's about to jump out of his chair. He's going to rocket ship his ass straight. I mean, I'm going to lose him in a minute. I could see him in the green room. He's like shooting through the screen back there. Anyway, Verge, he's been there for like 30 years. I know he's an alum. He played on the LSU football team back in the late 80s, I believe. He's married to Sheree Morial, who is Mark Morial's sister and former Mayor Mark Morial, former New Orleans Mayor Ernest Morial, his daughter. So a lot of connections here around New Orleans as well. He's from New Iberia. So my question about Verge Osbury, and I know you don't know a whole lot because I don't know a whole lot, and I've kind of did some digging a little bit going through what his LSU history, I guess. I was looking at some things as him as a player. But my question is, in his 24th year in the athletic department, Gabe puts, my question is, do we think that this, after Governor Landry's dumbass, just asinine, stupid comments, I've been on record saying what I think about him, so I'm not saying anything new. But do we think that, here's the thing that I worry about, that they just brought in, and I hope I'm wrong. I don't know a whole lot about Verge Osbury, so I'm just asking the question. Do we think that maybe this is just a yes man to, like, is he just going to listen to the birds and chirp, whereas Scott would obviously be much less likely to listen to the birds chirp?
I mean, I think there's a couple of issues here that to address that. First, they hire a president, right? So right. What's his name? Rousseau from Nichols. Is that where he came from? Nichols State. So at least he understands
president. He's the president and the chancellor, by the way.
So at least he understands Louisiana, the politics in Louisiana, the way things work in Louisiana. It also tells you how important football is. There is his first act.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you real quick who Wade Rousseau. He is his business background, also has a PhD according to the Advocate. Graduated from Nichols State in '93, as you are correct. He got his PhD from Illinois at Chicago. Worked for 2 years at the Federal Reserve Bank in Chicago. So there you go. Well, we could say some other things about him.
It tells you how important football is, and his first act is to name a permanent AD. I think everything you said about what the governor did is accurate. If there were guys who were great coaches, possibly on the fence, there's a lot of reasons you can point to that would have scared them off. But the good thing is now they've hired a president. He has an athletic director. If Osbury is beholden to anybody, it's the new president because he gave him the job. So I think I would feel better if I'm an LSU fan today than I did 3 days ago because I don't live down there anymore. So when you get away from LSU politics and the way things work down there, and then you see the comments from the governor, how embarrassing that was. At that point, you're looking around going, well, who would want to go into that kind of situation?
Right.
But I think the good news is they've obviously stabilized some things pretty quickly by naming a president and naming an AD. If he's been at LSU that long, he obviously knows what it's like there, what the culture's like, what the fans are expecting, what the donors are expecting, what everybody's expecting. I mean, everybody expects LSU to be a competitive program and a great place to coach and watch football. The best thing about it is you don't have to go far to get great players. So, I think now you're back in the mix for some of these guys you probably lost when Landry ran his mouth. So,
but Kevin, I will say this, and I'm not going to necessarily need to show the comment but it just goes to it clicks a little bell. Here's the reason why he probably is not a yes man. I'm going to say this because I talked about who he's married to. Okay, so he's married to a Morial, and the Morials are Mark Morial is one of the leaders of the Democratic Party. Okay, obviously Jeff Landry, and then we're not getting into politics, so I don't want to hear your politics. You don't need to comment about the politics. Right. But he's certainly not going to be a yes man for Jeff Landry because he's on the completely opposite political side of the fence. So at least if that's what you're hoping, that he's not that, which is what I'm hoping. I don't want any yes man. I want somebody who's going to be at the forefront of the room and say, look, I want the board to tell me what they think. And then at the end, it's Virgil Osbury's,
and I'm making the decision,
and the president, along with the president of LSU.
Right. I mean, if he has the backing of the president, which it appears he does, since he named him immediately.
Correct.
He does have to clean up a mess that Landry left for him, because now he's going to have to tell potential coach, listen, this guy's, he might be a kook, but he's not really running things here. It's us. So I think that's really the only thing he's got to clean up. I mean, other than that, of course, LSU's a great job. I mean, the only issue that LSU may run into is that there's so many other jobs on the market.
Right.
And I don't want to rank the jobs, but what I'm saying is there's money out there. So every school has got donors, has got big money. So it could come down to LSU having to fight somebody at Florida, at Penn State, at wherever, who's opening up the wallet and saying, no, don't let LSU get that guy. We want that guy.
I heard Josh Heupel is a candidate. I'm just kidding.
I will tell you that there will be some Tennessee fans that would be okay with that. So
completely kidding.
I will tell you this: he's better than the last three guys they had. But
there's no doubt about that. The odds on the LSU head coach, and I usually make a slide for this, but I kind of ran out of time this morning. We're still feeling our footing going forward in our new situation here. But the odds, according to Odds Checker, and there are a couple other ones that have thrown out. These aren't like you can get odds at different places. It's hard to find them right now. But the other odds that I've seen are very similar to this one. Okay, so I found this on foxsports.com. It comes from oddschecker.com. And again, I found them on social media, very similar to the ones I've seen here. Here are the top 5. Okay, number 1 on the board right now at plus 150, which if you don't know what that means and you're new to betting, or you don't bet, or you don't care, that basically means 1.5 to 1. That means it's pretty darn close to even about a 40% chance they think that John Summerall, and this is obvious. My first pick was Dan Lanning, and Dan Lanning, according to Matt Moscona, and I was listening to Matt Moscona yesterday, says that Dan Lanning is not coming to LSU. He's not leaving Oregon. Yeah. That's a done deal. He's not going anywhere.
I don't see why he would. I don't see why he would leave. I mean, he's got a great situation up there.
Fair enough. So my next choice, my own personal next choice, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me because I read this on Monday and last week when we talked about Kelly getting fired. I think John Summerall is the next up-and-coming coach. And like Jeff Duncan said last week, he's not necessarily advocating to hire John Summerall, but he says if you don't hire John Summerall, you will be playing against John Summerall probably next year because someone – Auburn is going to hire that dude if the LSU doesn't do it first.
Well, and you've got he's just down the road, so you don't have to go far to interview him. I mean, I guess it's You're right. I mean, the thing with LSU is the expectations. So when you hired Brian Kelly, you hire him because he's coaching Notre Dame. He's a big name coach and all of that kind of thing. There's not a lot of those guys out there now that you're going to go steal. And Brian Kelly didn't work out. So there's a couple of issues there that you've got to think about. So just because a guy's won somewhere else doesn't mean he's going to win here. And he may not be a good fit. I mean, Kelly was never a good fit at LSU.
That's why I hate to interrupt, but this kind of goes along with that. Mally Mal, who's a regular here, wants Marcus Freeman. And look, I love Marcus Freeman. I think he's a great coach. By the way, he's not even in the top 10, Mally Mal, as far as odds go. He's more than plus 2,000, so that's not going to happen. I don't think Marcus Freeman's leaving Notre Dame. But you just had a Notre Dame coach. As much as I love Marcus Freeman, I don't think LSU's not going to hire back-to-back Notre Dame coaches. That's not happening.
No, and I mean, look, Kirby Smart was a coordinator when he got the job at Georgia, and he's one of the best coaches in the country. So if you were to go get a top coordinator somewhere, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It just depends on the guy you get. And so, I mean, LSU's in a situation now where, I mean, I think your AD, you got the right guy because he's been there. He knows what he knows the coaches LSU's had. He knows the process. He knows what you need.
And he's a Louisiana guy.
So I think you actually have a good situation now where you didn't a few days ago. And I think you're going to end up getting a great coach. I'm
going to do something very, very. I was actually going to transcribe this. I meant to, but I'm going to play this clip. This was from Matt Moscona's ESPN show. I'm giving full credit, so I don't think it's a problem that I play this. I was actually going to transcribe it, but I want to play this clip because, again, just listen. This is Verge Osbury talking on Matt Moscona's show yesterday on ESPN about who potentially would be the next coach, and I think it's important. Listen to what he's saying. Listen through the lines here. See if I can get it to play. You got to press this button, Derry.
No. A person like this, like a person has a presence in our state, in Louisiana, to understand what we do here in Louisiana and how much it means to the people in Louisiana. But also for the young men to play for him, have fun, graduate, meet other people, have relationships with them, building relationships. That's the good thing. That's all. Can you relate to the players? Can you communicate the players?
And the key in there is him talking about it has to be someone who relates to Louisiana. And we've heard this over and over again since Brian Kelly has been let go. We heard it before Brian Kelly was let go, actually. It's going to have to be someone, and that's why I think John Summerall has an excellent chance. And One Smoke was asking me to finish the list, so I will tell you the top of this list, okay? I don't necessarily need to go through the whole thing here. But that's why I think John Summerall is, and I never gave Joe Brady a chance. He's number 2 on the list at plus 200, which means he's 2-1. Because I think Joe Brady wants to stay in the NFL, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's who I think the Titans should hire.
Okay,
I think that's who they should hire.
Yeah, and I think he's going to stay in the NFL, and that's why I think if Joe Brady was interested in coming to college, I think he'd be number 1 on the list and be a clear cut favorite. I think he would
be number 1 too. Yes.
So, and after that, Lane Kiffin is 3.5-1. I just don't think Lane Kiffin's a fit. I don't necessarily think he wants to come to LSU. Nor do I think LSU wants Lane Kiffin. I just don't think that's a fit. So I don't think that's happening. And I am biased because I don't want Lane Kiffin. Right. But I reading through the lines, I don't think that LSU wants him either. Then after that, man, you're James Franklin. That ain't happening. 5-1. Eli Drinkowitz is 7-1. Jeff Brom, an interesting name there. He's 12-1. Coach at Louisville, but he's in his mid 50s. Do you want somebody? I think the LSU needs someone younger, in my opinion. You go through Brent Key is 12-1. Jimbo Fisher is 16-1. No, and Clark Lee is 20-1, and then the rest of the field. All right. So anyway, I think John Summerall to me is a no-brainer in multiple ways. And Kevin, the reason why is because I think that, again, with what the governor said, I think that's going to get a big name candidate. And if you're willing to go on, I don't think Woodward was ever going to be willing to go on the limb and get a guy like John Summerall. However, I do think that Verge Osbury, if if you're going to take a chance, that's the kind of guy you're going to take a chance on. I think there's a good chance that he gets the gig.
I mean, I would disagree with you. I think he's got a good chance to get the gig too. If you go outside of him, so he turns it down or they don't go after him, two of the names that you mentioned, who I think could be good coaches, I think Drinkowich would be a good coach. I mean, he's winning at Missouri.
Correct.
Please. I think he's a good coach. And Clark Lee, he's winning at Vanderbilt. I think what helped Clark Lee obviously was the quarterback and getting Jerry Kill as his offensive sort of guru. That helped him, but he's actually recruiting at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Drinkowitz is recruiting to Missouri. You go to LSU, your recruiting job gets a little easier because one, you're recruiting to LSU, and two, again, like I said, you don't have to go far to get players. But I think if we learned anything from a coach that might not be the greatest coach in the world, but a great recruiter, you can win there. Les Miles. Yeah. So it can be done. And I don't know, man. I agree with you. I think Summerall would probably be your best candidate. But I also agree with you. I don't think it's Kiffin. I think Kiffin, if Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, I think he's going to Florida.
I agree.
But, I don't know why he leaves Ole Miss.
I don't know why he leaves Ole Miss either.
No, they're going to love him at Ole Miss when he wins 8 games. They're going to love him when he wins 7 games. They're not going to love him at LSU with 8 wins.
There's so much less pressure. You can go to the playoffs every 3 or 4 years at Ole Miss, and you're the greatest thing at sliced bread there. Yeah. And you can coach there until you're 75 years old. Yeah. If you, like you said, if you go to LSU and you go to the playoffs every 3 or 4 years, you ain't gonna last 3 or 4 years. Your ass is getting fired. I mean, you just can't do it.
They don't like you at 8 wins at LSU. They like you at 8 wins at Ole Miss. And it's definitely, he could be, he needs to stay at Ole Miss.
I really don't think he's leaving, but we'll see. He may, but I don't think it's gonna be LSU. Slugger Humphrey. Why isn't Frank Wilson even getting a thought? And it's because I don't think he's a recruiter. He's not a great football coach. I mean, he had a chance at North Texas and he was just okay. So,
but we will get to see what he can do in these last few games.
It's interesting that his name's not in these odds, and I think that he is being completely overlooked. If you could find a place to actually bet on him, because you'd probably get good odds on him, maybe you take a chance, because he's not. It's not 0.0 that he's not going to get the job. So,
I mean, he's certainly coaching for a job, whether it's LSU's job or another one. There's a bunch of them out there. So he's at least coaching for a job.
I hope he doesn't leave.
They got Bama, right? They got Bama this week.
I hope he doesn't leave.
So, you beat Bama, and all of a sudden your name comes up in a lot of jobs.
Real quick, LSU, Alabama. LSU is a 10-point favorite. This line has moved a little bit, and I kind of
Bama's a 10-point favorite.
Bama's a 10-point favorite. Did I say it the other way? Sorry about that.
It's all right. It was just in your mind that LSU was.
Maybe I'm thinking of the 2019 team. I don't know. I'm going back in time. I am old. LSU, a 10-point dog on the road in Tuscaloosa. It's the first time they have been a double-digit dog since they were 22.5. Gabe looked this up the other day. 22.5-point dog at Alabama in 2020, and they got smoked. They lost 55-17 or something like that. Anyway,
Saban was pissed off at somebody, huh?
He was pretty ticked. 29.5. It was 29.5. Whatever that was. It was, and they still didn't cover. So this week, the odds makers seem to like LSU a little bit. This was 10.5 on Monday. I mean, they're not running to the window, or maybe some people are, but obviously there's been at least 1 or 2 or 3 big bets placed on LSU, enough to move the number, because 10.5 actually is sort of a interesting number. It's, you got that hook. The hook doesn't always matter, but it does matter when it's tacked onto a 10 or tacked onto a 7 or tacked onto a 3. It really matters. So for it to move from 10.5 to 10 is significant. What do you think about this week's game? I mean, give me a prediction if you want, but I mean, is LSU play inspired now that Kelly's gone, or do they just kind of are they just limping out the season?
Well, I mean, like I said, Frank Wilson's going to be the inspired guy. He's going to be going nuts trying to get these guys fired up all week, because, what they do in this game obviously helps his career. And what it does in this game helps these LSU guys. I mean, with the transfer portal the way it is, You play great against Bama. You have a big game. Who knows? You may get some money to transfer somewhere else. But I do think that LSU, talent-wise, could certainly beat Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several – Alabama could have lost several games this year. There's several teams that have pushed them to the brink, and we saw what they did against Florida State in the opener. So they're certainly beatable. Ty Simpson has had a miraculous turnaround from that horrible first game. But I do think LSU has the talent. They've got the guys up front that if they can get to him, if they can force him out of the pocket, if they can hit him a few times, I think they have a chance to rattle him for sure. They've got the talent to win this game. Does that mean they're going to? I don't know, but they certainly have the talent to.
I think they're going to play inspired football. I really
agree
do.
with you.
I don't know. We'll see if we'll see if they care or not.
If you can ruin Bama's season, that would be a huge, huge feather in your cap. So I think they want to go.
One of us would be upset if they did that. Right?
I'll tell you what. If I can find something purple, I'll probably be wearing it that day.
you and I both. I mean, we were rooting for Tennessee last week. It just didn't happen.
Man,
they had their chances. All right, before we let you go, the Tennessee Titans, trying to find them. What are they off this week?
They are.
Oh, okay.
Mercifully, they're not playing this week.
Oh, they're playing bye week. They can't lose.
It's going to be close.
They are 2-point dogs to bye week.
I saw that of the wire.
That Middle Tennessee is a slight underdog against FIU.
That is another team that's horrible. My alma mater. It's possibly the worst they've ever been. I wouldn't watch the game the other night. I've seen high school games, especially in Louisiana, that would have been a lot better than that when they played Jacksonville State the other night. It was horrendous.
Well, Kevin, you and I it's interesting. You and I were kind of talking over the weekend, potentially, who knows, maybe you and I will start something on the side. It would be a lot of fun. I think if we did maybe have some kind of national show, we'd have to figure out how it works, but we got the channel and we got the stuff to do it now. So who knows, maybe we'll just have some fun and start something up. And if not, maybe you can come on every now and then on Wednesdays and we'll have fun that way. But I know we'll see you going forward. We appreciate you coming on this morning.
Anytime we want to talk about some bad football, I'm your guy. So we can talk bad all day.
There's no shows out there called Bad Football. I mean, maybe that's the name of the show, Bad Football.
We can have a following. There's a lot of fans of bad teams out there.
That would be a great, I think we're on to something. I hope no one's going to be out there stealing our idea, but that is the name of the show, Bad Football.
Yeah, let's talk bad football. Let's do it.
All right, Kevin Spain. We will talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
MD, thank you, man.
All right.
And I might see you in Nashville in a month, right?
I'm serious about that. I think that would be fun.
We'll have a good time.
The last time I ever went to a game that will probably be that with that few people in the stands, I went and saw a strike game, Saints and Cardinals in St. Louis. I was there. I got heckled by the Cardinals, the real Cardinals. And it was the middle of October and it was about 38 degrees and it was freezing and miserable.
It's going to be cold.
At a strike game. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be cold in Nashville. And I'll tell you what,
the last time I've been in Nashville, it was Christmas week about 11 years ago and it was freezing.
Yeah, it gets cold. And you won't get heckled because my seats are actually near the visiting fans. Okay. So you'll probably be surrounded by the
5 Saints fans.
The tens of Saints fans who come.
I can't tell you. I really don't remember. I don't remember the last time I went to a professional football game as a fan. It has been a long time.
I think I'm going
to take you up on this. I may actually do this. I mean, this would be fun. I don't remember. So I really may do this. We'll see. Anyway, either way, we will talk very soon, my friend. Thank you.
All right, man. See ya.
All right. Kevin Spain. I mean, look, I'm telling you, it's we never even got to the Pels. I wanted to ask him about the Pels, but we never got to it. We spent so much time. I am just bound and determined to get this show to an hour and 30. And it's my own fault because I spent like 10 minutes too long in my opening monologue because I don't know how to shut the hell up. But some of you like that. I mean, I guess that's why if I knew how to shut the hell up, maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have a show. But we thank Case Spain for being a part of the show. And I'm telling you, going forward, he is definitely going to be a part of something, whether it's part of this show or whether we start our own thing and do it on a day that we're not having a show here. He and I are going to do something and we're going to have fun. And I don't know what it's going to be. Misery loves company. It's going to be bad football. It's going to be country and yat. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be fun and we're going to do it. Kevin Spain, thank you. All right, let's talk a little bit some more about the Saints. And if you want to get your comments in, now is the time. Kyle Sherman says segment idea. It might be more than a segment. But that would be you could sponsor the bad football segment here on the Dattitude podcast. We've got some more things. I got all kinds of ideas coming up. We're going to do all sorts of things, but it's a perfect opportunity before I tell you about my friends at Evangeline Securities. It's a perfect opportunity to tell you that if you or you know someone who might be interested in it, and shameless plug. I am going out and I'm going to spend some time after I get this company formed, whatever we name it or whatever it is, over the course of the next, few weeks. I am going to be looking for sponsors, like actively looking for sponsors, not like before. So I've already had a couple friends reach out to me. Very appreciative of that. If you or someone you know, and I'm telling you, it's going to be it's going to be way more reasonable than if I were at the other place, when I was at the other place, which was not saying anything negative about my former employer. I want that to be clear, but it's going to be a lot more reasonable and a lot more easy to be able to sponsor the show than it would have been a week ago. Let's just put it that way. And we're going to have segment sponsors. We're going to have friends of sponsors. And again, very reasonable prices. Reach out to me, Jim@JimDerry.com. I have to make an appointment to meet with UBN. Okay. I'll make an appointment. I'll even take you to lunch at the place of your choice in the West Bank, as long as it doesn't cost more than like $30 for us both. So that's Callie. Welcome. Put it out there. I am. I'm serious. I have no shame. So seriously, Jim@JimDerry.com, or you can find me on Facebook. You can DM me, whatever way you want to find me. And I'll get in touch with you. And I'm telling you, very reasonable. If you have a small company, and you want to get it, you've been looking for a place to sponsor. I'm telling you one thing about this show that's different than other shows, and not just that you talk to us and we talk back, but we have an absolute. You could see this. If you watch a show on a regular basis, you know this. We have an absolute loyal following that is here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I think that if you sponsor the show, it's gonna be taken more than somewhere else. Whatever that means. You know what I mean. I didn't say that very well, but you get the gauge. I'm from the West Bank. It is what it is. Chad Gage has $30. There goes the chicken fillet, damn it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Wendy's? I could do better than that. Absolutely family, ask Callie. Wendy's? No. We could do better than Wendy's. For $30, we know places in here's a free plug. Here's a shameless plug. Ever been to Moe's Pizza? If you're from around the New Orleans area, even if you don't live here anymore, Moe's, you got to go to Moe's. We could go to Moe's In and Out for $30. Absolutely. You know who can make you a lot more than $30? I'm just saying. You can put some kind of exponent on that number. I mean, you're talking. You could go to Moe's every day, and you can't go Christmas because they're probably closed on Christmas. But you know what I mean. Evangeline Securities. They can help you get lots of $30. Why? How? They can help you figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it, Derry? Well, I'll tell you. After the complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, well, they're the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and I mean none. Zero. It's actually zero. But my French is really bad and rusty. Anyway, you know what I mean. None have their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. And it ain't my terrible, horrendous French or my West Bank Dattitude. No. What's really important? The rest of your life. That's what's important. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Bring back ground patty, bro. Ground patty still exists, Kyle. They got one in Kenna, bro. Saying it's still there. Ground patty is still there. My wife's company services them. Shameless plug. Performance Food Group. Performance Food Service. They service ground patty in Kenna, bro. You begin want some racetrack hot dogs. You got it, pal. Who that daddy? Ground patty. I'm telling you, it's still there. You can still go. Go. Ground patty in Kenna. Free plug. I got all kinds of free plugs. Maybe if I show that I'm giving free plugs, they'll sponsor the Dattitude podcast. We'll see. All right. Again, it's getting time. It's time to get your final comments in real quick. Just because I made the slide, I'm going to show it. Tulane Green Wave playing on a Friday night. We'll talk about it briefly with Zach Ewing. Zach Ewing's still coming on Fridays. The Friday show's not going to be any different. Zach Ewing will still be here on Friday. We're going to do our preview just like we always do. The Green Wave, this line has moved from +6 to +4.5. The bettors are betting on the Wave. I have no idea why. I ain't touching this game with a stick, ugly, ratted out stick that's been sitting in my lawn for 2 months. I ain't touching this game. The Wave are now 4.5-point underdogs instead of 6-point underdogs. I don't get it. Memphis, meanwhile, in the latest, the only one, the first playoff rankings come out by ESPN. Memphis is number 12. Memphis is expected to be the non-Power 4 candidate or whatever. The Wave can screw that up. Will they? Earl's pick says Sizzler. I don't think the Sizzler's around anymore, Earl. UBN wants to bring back Luther's. Man, you remember that loaf of onion rings? Who that daddy? You didn't know about Grand Patty? Yeah, it exists. I'm telling you. Got to find one in Kenna. See you later, Ask Callie. We'll see you Friday. All right. It is time. That is enough Tulane talk. We'll talk more about them Friday. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But it's time for Wednesday with Gabe Henderson, and I pushed you all the way to the 127 mark. I'm sorry I cut some of your time out. That's
okay.
All right. What is going on this morning?
Nothing. I just can't believe you pitched a bad football segment and didn't include me.
I'm talking about maybe a whole. You know how much fun that would be to have a show about and call it bad football?
Jim, I love bad football.
I mean, we could talk about Maction. I mean,
I am the offspring. I told this to someone last night. I am lucky enough to be the offspring of two parents who went to Mac schools.
Wow. Okay.
I love Maction.
Well, my mother went to Southeastern for about 2 weeks, I think. And my dad went to Georgia Tech until he got kicked out of school his senior year for building a rocket ship that he lit off from the 50-yard line of Grant Field. And they asked him to leave. And my dad's gone, so he's not going to get mad at me now for saying that, although he may haunt me in my sleep tonight for telling people that story. Anyway, what is up this morning? I know that you probably wanted to talk a little about the LSU coaching search. That's not up. Maction. UBN's in on Maction.
Yeah, I love Maction. And I will say my favorite game, if you ask me my favorite game that I've ever watched, it was Iowa against South Dakota a few years ago to open the season. No, it wasn't Maction. It finished 7-3. This is more bad football. What's up, Boudette Daddy? It finished 7-3, and you will never guess how the 7 was scored. It was 2 safeties and a field goal.
Wow.
Peak Brian Ferentz at Iowa. It was awesome.
That's really bad. All right. LSU coaching search. Who's do you think's the favorite?
Lane Kiffin.
He's still on that Lane Kiffin train, huh?
I think the favorite is Lane Kiffin. Yeah, because the real hurdle with Lane Kiffin was Scott Woodward. Lane Kiffin really wanted to come to LSU in 2016, and I didn't know this until recently. I believe it was Ross Dellinger who had this scoop. He was close. He had a handshake agreement with Ed Orgeron to join his staff if he didn't get a head coaching offer, and that's when he got the FAU offer. So, I mean, he's
interesting.
He's always been admired here. Here I say from Houston, Texas, in Louisiana.
I will say that Virgil Osbury did say he was asked by Matt Moscona if this search could continue on if his candidate, if his top candidate was still playing into January, would the Tigers be willing to wait that long? And he said yes. So that does mean that Lane Kiffin's obviously a candidate. Now, whether that means anything or not, we will find out. All right, LSU Bama. We'll give our predictions on Friday, so you don't have to give me a prediction. But we kind of touched on this the other day. Do you think LSU, again, not asking you for a prediction, but do you think LSU is going to play inspired football, or they're going to be like, okay, let's just get this season over with? Or does it matter
but I don't
that
think
Alabama's that good?
I think it doesn't matter because Alabama's that good.
Okay.
I don't think Whit Weeks is going to be out again. I believe he's officially listed as doubtful.
Yeah,
he hasn't practiced all week.
Okay.
LSU's defense just doesn't have the horses, I don't think, without him, especially at linebacker. Their linebackers have been super underwhelming when he's been out.
All right, we'll see if you.
Speaking of connecting the two, one other thing that Virgil Osbury did say, because he didn't, as you mentioned, did the exclusive interview with Matt Moscona. He is very good friends with Nick Saban.
Yep.
They talk every couple weeks, and Nick Saban is not coaching.
Yeah,
he's done coaching.
Right.
So,
anyone
who wants,
I didn't bring that up because I've made that clear.
Yeah. And
that's not happening.
Another thing that needs to be, Frank Wilson is not getting the LSU job. He's just not. He was a horrible head coach.
I don't even know if he wants the job, to be honest. I mean, of course
I don't know if he does either.
Of course he. I mean, if they offered it to him, he's going to take it. But I just don't think that he really wants the job. Okay.
Yeah, and then Ed Orgeron said that he wants to take it. That's just not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I think it'll be. And I don't think Joe Brady wants to come back, nor do I think he would. I think if anyone comes back from the NFL, it's Kelvin Shepard.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
But yeah, my gut feeling, if I had to narrow it down to three right now, I'd say Kelvin Shepard, Lane Kiffin, John Summerall are probably the three.
Good afternoon, Randall. I'm glad you're here. That family, we're all together. All right, before we let Gabe go, we have been doing this every Monday and Wednesday. Obviously, we don't have a show on Thursday, so we do this on Wednesday. Gabe kind of faltered a little bit on. He didn't get help from. He bet on the Squares didn't do very well this week. Let's just say the Squares did, and it's the reason kind of why I continued with the under. I hit that, but let's see if we can do well. We've been doing well on Thursday nights. It's our Thursday night pick. I'll have to ask, and we don't always have an official pick. Sometimes we just lean a certain way, or we don't have a pick at all. So I'll ask you, Gabe. The Raiders are 9.5-point underdogs at Denver. We have seen the headline says, beware of big faves on Thursday Night Football because weird things happen on Thursday. Does that affect you at all? Do you have a pick for this game? The over-under, by the way, is 42.5.
No, I don't have a pick. But if I leaned one way, I would probably lay the 9.5 with Denver. And my reasoning being, A, Vegas is not very good. B, they just traded their top receiver. Yeah. C, I think Sunday, their game on Sunday night was so disheartening to a losing team. They put everything they had into that game, and they still came up short. So I think that's
my pick. I'm going to kind of go into the well for a second straight pick here. I think that the Broncos are far head and shoulders better than the Raiders, but I am very wary right now. I'm going back and forth trying to decide whether the Broncos are. One of my knockout picks is Buffalo at Miami this week, and I hate picking division teams on the division games on the road, but I'm still going to break my own golden rule because it's to me by far and away the best game on the board. even though that the Bills played, an emotional game last week and beat the Chiefs, and they're on the road. However, that being said, my second pick, I'm going back and forth. I hate Thursday night knockout picks. I've been knocked out so many times picking a Thursday game, but I don't know how it's either the Broncos or it's the Panthers. And I'm right now I have it Broncos. I'm probably going to stay there. But that being said, I don't know that they win by 9.5 because I don't trust them. And I know, look, I don't care what I know somebody was bragging that I picked the Texans last week and the Broncos ended up coming back and had a miracle cover again.
Well, there's a huge asterisk on that game, but
yeah, well, I'm not going to get you fired up about it, but
no, I'm not going to get fired up. I'm just going to say the Texans win easily if they have their starting quarterback.
Oh, there's no question. But
they were dominating that game.
The point is that this goes to show, okay, I am telling you, and I know this is a year and a half in, and I am just not, I do not believe in Bo Nix at all.
No.
I don't think their offense is that good anyway. I just don't. And so I don't have faith that they're going to be able to score enough, and Max Crosby could get in there. I'm with you that if I had to pick one way or the other with the spread, I would take the Broncos minus 9.5. However, I'm not making that a pick, and I'm not betting that. What I am going to take, though, is I think the Raiders stink this bad, okay, but they could have a decent day on defense. I'm going to take the under again. I took the under Monday at work, and I know 42.5 is low, but I if this was like 40.5 or 39.5, I probably would just leave it alone. But at 42.5, I'm going to take the under. I think this is like a 17-10 or 20-10 or 20-13 kind of game. I don't trust the Broncos to cover, but I do like the under. I don't think either offense does very much. And I'll tell you what, Vance Joseph is, and again, I'm biased because we went to the same high school. We was alum. He's a Shaw alum, but I think Vance Joseph is doing just one hell of a job. And how he's turned things around in a couple of years. He was on the fringe of getting fired again. And he's turned this defense for Denver is outstanding in my opinion. So
yeah, it's weird. The reason that I laid the 9.5, if you make me make a pick, my gut tells me to go over because both of these teams have scored a lot of points at certain points in the season. That's a weird number. It's on that fringe that I'm just not touching. But I could, if you were to tell me this game was a shootout, I wouldn't disagree with you after what we've seen the last couple of weeks from
I think most of these picks are like, Charles 34. It's not 34.
I think that's a little optimistic.
You're saying that because Sean, all these, I believe in Sean. I mean, Denver's not winning anything significant this year. I hate to tell you. I'm telling you right now, they are not good enough to go.
They're not as good as their record.
They're not going to the AFC Championship game. They might. No. If they win the division, that's a big if. If they win the division, they will not get to the championship game. I will, and I'm thinking about making a segment of things I say that are wrong, and like we cut clips, and you can show it back to me later, and you can just do that, and you say I have one for you, and that's a segment sponsor, and you can cut a clip out and show me where I was wrong or whatever, just to make fun of me.
Let's not forget what happened last year.
Sean Payton is not.
Playoffs.
Sean Payton is like 92 years old. And I'm not impressed with his offense. His offense from 20 years ago, or even 6 years ago. I think time's kind of passed them by.
Yeah, they got very lucky to win on Sunday. I'll say.
Bo Nix is not that good.
Well, I say lucky. It's just another case of Sean Payton throwing a bounty out there.
Oh boy. That's the first thing. I couldn't wait. I'm surprised it took you that long. I really thought that was going to be in a text somewhere this week. I can't believe it took you that long to say that.
No, and I don't actually believe it. It's just having some fun.
Well, I got those things. I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't think about that the other day. So
there were some really nasty hits in that game. Nico,
there were definitely some nasty hits.
CJ, the hit on CJ was, come on.
Yeah.
If that was Patrick, say there were two hits this weekend that weren't flagged.
If it was Mahomes or Josh Allen,
if it was Mahomes, the defender would have been banned for life from the NFL. But there were two hits this weekend on quarterbacks that really surprised me that they weren't flagged. The one on CJ Stroud, mostly because he got hit from behind and the defensive player got up and immediately threw his arms around like, "What? I didn't do anything," and that's an immediate admission of guilt. And the other was the Edger and Cooper hit on Bryce Young. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
That was awful, and it wasn't flagged.
Edger and Cooper, Covington High School, baby. I covered him in high school. I covered his last high school game ever. The Covington Lions scored one touchdown, and it was Edger and Cooper picking off a pass and running it back for a touchdown. That is broadcasted. I also broadcasted the last high school game of Arch Manning. I was the play-by-play guy for it. So I apparently end a lot of high school careers. It's happened. All right, we will see you on Friday when we have the Pick'em show, and it is so good to be, even though we weren't really far from normal, and we'll never really be normal, but it's so back to being as close to normal as possible, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, before I let you go, not that I want to spend more than 10 seconds talking about this, but did you see that Tom Brady cloned his dog?
Someone said just wait till his cloned ex-wife turns on him. Yes, I saw that. No, I'm not taking another second to think or talk about it. My immediate thought when I saw it, because I got notifications on my phone about it from ESPN, is what the hell is this? Why do I need this? I don't care.
Why does anyone give a rat's ass that time? And I've got alerts on this from the fourth different source now, the latest one being Fox 8. Why does anyone give a rat's ass what Tom Brady did with it? This is the society we live in today. This is why we were all so much better without this instant knowledge of stupid shit. It's mind-boggling, Gabe. Maybe you of the generation that you're in can explain it to me.
No, I can't.
The next time we have, maybe on Monday with Gabe. I don't know.
Care. Yeah.
See you Friday.
Sounds good.
I'm telling you, it's just I don't get it. Who cares? Tom Brady cloned his dog. See, I am by no means a person who says people's money should be capped, a limit. But if there ever was a reason in life to cap someone's worth or cap someone's bank account or cap some, again, I am not for this. I don't want any backlash. I don't want any hate. I am not for this whatsoever. People should be able to make whatever the hell they want to make. However, if there were ever a reason someone was trying to say this is why people's wealth should be capped, it's Tom Brady cloning his GD dog. I said a curse word. I've said a lot of curse words on this show. I'm just trying to stay away from the foreign filth word, okay? This show, I don't want potential sponsors to be rung off by me saying too many bad words. It's not going to be any different. Michael Keaton cloned himself 4 times in the 90s. Did he? I didn't know that. But, I mean, seriously, if you have so much money that you're going to clone your damn dog, I don't know. Whatever that costs, give it to the friggin' homeless shelter, for Christ's sake. You know how many people you could probably, again, I don't want to sound like a, whatever. I don't want to go there. You know? Exactly who that, how much that cost. I mean, you got to think that cost, I don't know, probably not $1 million. You think it cost $1 million, Gabe, to clone your dog? Okay, hold on. You think it cost $1 million?
For a normal person, yes, but I know Tom Brady's an investor of that company, so they probably did it.
He got a discount. He got an employee discount
for free. I don't know.
All right, bye. All right, we got to go. On that note, that's what we're talking about. Christopher Crump, what's Tom Brady ever done for the Saints? I don't know if you're alluding to me talking about something that doesn't have to do with the Saints, but I don't mean this in a bad way, because I certainly don't want to piss anybody off. I'm not in a position to run anybody off, so I'm not trying to run you off when I say this, but we talk about a lot of other things. We talk about a lot of things on this show. It's not just, this is not today. It wasn't yesterday. It wasn't 2 years ago. It won't be tomorrow, and it's not going to be 2 years from now, only a Saints show. So if that's what you meant, you may not mean that. And so I apologize if that's not what you meant. But I'm telling you now, this is not today, or nor will it ever be. So if you're thinking about advertising, it's not solely a Saints show. We spend a lot of time talking about the Saints. Absolutely, we do. But that's not all we talk about. We talk about a lot of stuff on this. And you know what? Going forward, we're probably going to talk about a lot of stuff even more. You can only talk about 1 and 8 so much, dude. You know how hard it is to, and when you see, that's why I say it's so much easier to talk about a winner and to cover a winner. You know how hard it is to talk about a really crappy football team and just crap. We joke about bad football, and the reason why I think we could be successful doing a show called Bad Football because I have a lot of experience talking about bad football. But we're going to talk about it on this show as well. But for today, that is it. It's going to wrap it up for us on a Wednesday. I'm so glad you came and found us again. This show lives on. It will live on. We're going to have fun doing it. I want to thank today's guests, Kevin Spade, Gabe Henderson, and you. Of course, you are our guests. You're not just our guests. You're our family. We love you. We'll be back on Wednesday when we welcome in Zach and the Pick'em crew. I'm probably going to disband the weather segment. Damon might do it if I asked him to, but I don't know him as well. We'll see. Maybe we'll bring it back at some point, but I think at least for now we're gonna go bye-bye on the weather segment, and maybe I'll talk about the weather. Who knows? Y'all know I talk enough about the weather anyway. I'm little Nash Roberts, little Bob Breck, whatever you want to call me. We will be back on Friday. We will tell you about what the weather's going to be like for Saints and Panthers. We'll tell you what the weather's going to be like for LSU, Alabama. We will tell you what the weather's going to be like for Tulane and Memphis. Some kind of way. It will happen. And we will give you our picks for Saints, LSU, and Tulane, and also our best bets of the week. Somebody on this panel was 0-3. I don't remember who it was, but I'll tell you Friday in case you care. One of us was 0-3. Sigh. A reminder to subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. You can also find us on Facebook. You can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr. You can find me tomorrow night. I'm going to tape it today. I don't know if I'm supposed to say we're taping it, but we are. I'm taping it today. It will be on the air tomorrow evening at Thursday night on WVUE Fox 8. I'll be on the Final Bet Show with Garland Gillen and Juan Kincaid. As I am every Monday, I will also be on Inside Eric Asher. I did not go on this past Monday because of all the stuff that was going on, but I will be back in my regular time slot on Inside New Orleans on Eric Asher Monday afternoon. You can find us here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. We will see you for Pick'em Friday on, guess what? Guess what day that's going to be on? Yeah, you got it. On Friday. Until then, take it easy, my friends.